Coming to you live from Berea, Ohio. Welcome inside our coverage of the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets and the Heidelberg Student Princes tonight on bwyellowjackets.com. I'm Brendan Gulick alongside Cole McDaniel. Our coverage sponsored by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products. They're a global recycling company. It's a soggy, cold, and frankly miserable evening here in Berea. This is far and away the worst weather game these two teams have played in this year. Cole, going to have to find a way, as both teams look for their first win in conference, have to find a way to somehow embrace the fact that the conditions are anything but ideal. There's a lot to play for. BW finds themselves in the same position they were a year ago after dropping the first three conference contests.
Well, Brendan, this is finally OAC soccer weather. We've been waiting for this moment. We've had good weather up to this point. we knew exactly what was coming, and it finally hit where it's cold, it's wet, it's miserable, but it's one of those situations where both teams, they're going to have to try to find a way to play through it, deal with the elements, and get a win, because both at 0-3 in conference to start, it's a must-win game for both of these teams.
Yeah, Heidelberg comes limping in 4 consecutive losses. Hiram out of league play, and then opening the league with losses in overtime against Wilmington, lost 3-1 to Capital, and 3-2 at Marietta. The Jackets had such a good start to the year. They were 7-2, but they've lost 5 in a row with 2 tough non-conference losses. Games they just didn't play very well against Grove City and Ohio Wesleyan, and then BW with a front-loaded OAC schedule, Capital, Ohio Northern, and Otterbein on the road. It has been a very difficult month for the Yellow Jacket ladies. Just about ready to get things kicked off tonight, waiting for John Talley's official signal. And here it comes. Off we go in Berea. 48 degrees with steady rain. It is not projected to last all night. It's about a 40% chance of rain between 7 and 8 o'clock, according to the local weather forecast, with fairly windy conditions lasting throughout the course of the night. So we'll keep our eye on that. In the meantime, Yellow Jackets settle right into a high press on the offensive end of the field. Expect that to be the case at different points throughout the course of the night. Emma Bruno is the Yellow Jacket keeper. She's got Morgan Gray, Kayla Webb, Kenna Poptic, Josie Fenn, Brandy Philippi, Alex Guido, Courtney Marzensky, Sydney Graneman, Maddie Farrell, and Andrea Scatino starting with her tonight. Courtney Marzensky, kind of a notable addition to the starting lineup. Not somebody that we've seen a ton from as a starter this year, but when you're playing without a full deck of cards, if you will, Kenna Stone's not available this evening, and that's disappointing. She's BW's leading scorer at 4 goals on the year, and certainly their most physical presence on the receiving end of set pieces, Cole. It's difficult to not have her out on the pitch.
Well, it is, and you also mentioned just not having the full deck of cards. Again, you know, Michelina Rush, somebody who had been starting to start the year, and then she's kind of been working her way back from an injury as well. And you mentioned it's just been a team that they kind of dealt with it a little bit last year, being stricken by injury, but they're dealing with it a little bit once again, especially at the left wing position too.
Heidelberg in the black tops with orange numerals and trim, and the Yellow Jackets are in their all whites here at the outset of the game. And certainly it's no knock against Courtney Marzensky. She's just not exactly proven yet. This is only her 7th career start. And when she has played, she's played okay. But when you're missing your leading scorer and one of your top players, things are always going to be a little bit more challenging.
Well, she does have the last goal for the team as she scored that one against Ohio Northern, that cross that went towards the back post and went into the side netting. So she is the last person to get on the score sheet for the Yellow Jackets.
Good run there from Marzensky. Mackenzie Perry, senior defender out of Bath High School out in Lima, able to track that one down. Freshman goalkeeper Meredith Bruce, a young lady out of Cincinnati. She'll be defending on the other side of the field. Sophia Jackson, Mackenzie Perry, Victoria Perez, Kate Mundy. Good goal scorer Erica Campbell, one of the top scorers in the league. Becca Thomas, Lexi Foley. Audrey Kauffman, Ainsley Tucker, And Amanda Sugru starting lineup tonight on the Heidelberg side for head coach Nick Spell. In his 14th year, one of the longer tenured coaches in the Heidelberg athletic department. Trying to get his team back into winning ways. Playing in the pouring rain here at the moment. Thomas right foots it forward. Running into the driving rain. Gray down in the corner. That cross came toward Emma Bruno, but the offside flag, all right, beg your pardon, the end flag was waved there for crossing the end line for a goal kick. Kenna Poptic, the most veteran player on the field for the Yellow Jackets. She's playing in her 66th career match tonight, making her 39th start over at the outside back spot. Josie Fenn pressing forward. Lost it out of play. All right, let's focus on keys to the game here. We'll start on the BW side. Obviously, both teams kind of down on their luck coming into tonight, but you can only control what's in front of you. So if you're BW, what's the biggest key here this evening?
Well, it's one of those things where obviously we know the team hasn't scored many goals, but that's mostly to do with they haven't gotten any shots off and they haven't generated an attack. And for the Yellow Jackets today, I would say it's one of those things where they just need to get forward, and in the run of play, they need to try to get some shots off. And a lot of that is you can't leave your wingers stranded. Everybody has to go up. They have to crash in the box and try to slot one home low on the ground.
Heidelberg trying to play through Kauffman left side. And a good chase, but Sugru sees it play a little too long out of bounds. Amanda's a senior out of Loveland, Ohio. Poptic, good throw in. Hey, talk about the frustrating offense for the Yellow Jackets lately. Haven't had a whole lot of success. Been outscored 12-1 in the last two games in particular as Bruno comes all the way out. Clears it into the middle of the field. Boy, that was dangerous. Knock it out to the side. In this 5-game losing streak, the Yellow Jackets have not scored more than one goal in a game. They've only put 3 up in total. Been outscored 22-3 in this losing streak.
Yeah, and that's just one of those miserable stretches. And it's one of those things where it is important to come in and get the win. It's a situation where it's hard to sometimes bounce back, especially when you've gone on a skid like that. But at the same time, that's when you need the people who are considered leaders on the team to finally say, hey, let's put an end to this. This is our moment to get a win and get right back on the right track. And it's pretty crucial tonight.
Well, and as Capital, Ohio Northern, and Otterbein have sort of asserted themselves early on here as the dominant teams in league play, these are the kinds of matchups that bear that much more weight because, you know, you're really fighting for a spot in the OAC tournament, especially when you give up 3 at the beginning of the year. Those top 3 teams are unlikely to each go unbeaten otherwise against each other. You never know. Otterbein at 10-1-1 on the year. They have very much looked the part of a nationally ranked team. And frankly, so is Ohio Northern. They're ranked 23rd in the country coming into tonight. Keep you updated on some of those other scores from around league play this evening. Jackets trying to be patient on the defensive end. Scatino and Gray, they've been a good combo at the center back spots. And a BW throw-in. 37-35. We're in 8 minutes here in this first half. No score. Tapping to the right-hand side. Brandy Philippi getting increased playing time as the year moves along. Philippi's got a couple of goals. And a BW throw.
And obviously, we know because of the record, we just kind of know, because of past experiences as well, Heidelberg not quite as much of a power as some of the other teams they started off the conference season with, but I do like how the Yellow Jackets are coming into this game, and they're trying to pass it on the floor. They're trying to keep it down. They're trying to get possession, and that's what we haven't seen when they've been on this losing skid, and right now they're doing a much better job possessing the ball.
This one's ripped wide left. Good idea, but execution a bit off. Jackets last year finished the season 11-7-1, but as we kind of alluded to, we're in a pretty similar position, Cole, where they started the conference 0-3 and then won 5 of 6 to get to 5-4 in league play and make the OAC tournament again. Last year, Heidelberg finished 2-7 in league play. They were 7-11-1 in their regular season, and their OAC wins last year came against Marietta and Muskingum. Obviously, there was some frustration there for Heidelberg in that they've already dropped one of those here in 2019, coming off a 3-2 loss at Marietta. So not a great year for the Student Princes so far, but again, trying to figure out how they can just take on tonight's opponent in BW. Sugru sends one on the ground, skidding toward the post. Bruno has it. Well, it kind of goes without saying, doesn't it, that both keepers have to be extra certain on those low balls coming their way with how wet the playing surface and the ball will be. Don't want to let anything spill out. This ball's crossed. Good snag by the freshman Meredith Bruce.
Well, and this is one of those games where I think if the goal for Heidelberg as well as BW is to hit it low on the ground, this is one of the games where it does give Emma Bruno a bit of an advantage, as we know she's good at getting to the ground. She's good at saving on those low things. So if Heidelberg's focused on keeping it low, it could play right into Bruno's hands.
Jackets wide on the left. Philippi with a nifty little move to avoid Sophia Jackson. Now Farrell into the middle of the box. It's nicely cleared away initially. BW throw. Again, while I referenced Heidelberg's subpar record last year, I think it is worth noting that the games in general this year, just looking at the score alone, things have been a lot tighter in 2019, and so they do feel like there is some growth. Good pressure from Kayla Webb. Farrell steps up to it and sends it way up in the sky. Out of play. Last year with losses in conference, some pretty consistently lopsided scores. 5-1, 6-0, 6-2. Those are not games you really want to be conceding that many goals. Their best game of the year last year may have come against Ohio Northern. They only lost 1-0 to the Polar Bears. Here's a long, good opportunity, perhaps coming together for Campbell. She sends it over and in. Heidelberg in the 12th minute on the board first here in Berea. Long ball that got ahead for Erica Campbell. She tucks it in the right side for her 8th goal of the season.
Yeah, and that's just a good finish as that ball was played through. She was able to split the center backs and just beat Morgan Gray to the ball. And then with the left foot, able to just play it across the face of the goal and sneak it into the back post. And Bruno was positioned on the near post, but nothing the goalkeeper can do there as that one's placed pretty perfectly.
Baldwin Wallace making a change here. Substitution is Anna Wenzinger for Alex Guido. So 12th minute action, and Heidelberg out front, 1-0.
Into the contest for BW number 21, Anna Wenzinger.
Play resumes as the rain intensifies to its heaviest all night long.
Well, and despite a losing record so far in the year for Heidelberg, Erica Campbell is a bright spot for the team as she now has 23 points on the year, as that's her 8th goal of the season. So she's definitely had the ability to attack and show some pressure and just some dominance on the offensive side of things for Heidelberg.
Farrell rips one off a defender there. And frankly, to be fair to Heidelberg, even though their record coming in 4-7-1, they are with that goal now on the positive side of the scoring margin. It's their 27th goal of the year. They've given up 26. Again, to be fair, 13 of those 27 goals have come in 2 games, beating Defiance 6-0 and beating Bluffton 7-1, but still clearly showing some offensive improvement from a year ago as the Yellow Jackets inappropriately touched it. Heidelberg free kick here in the 13th minute. It's hard to always judge things by wins and losses. Sometimes it just doesn't feel fair. Doesn't tell the whole story. And when you have a couple of teams at the top of the league that have consistently won games, hey, at the end of the day, you are what your record says you are. But there are a lot of other ways to measure progress, and coaches will tell you, especially someone like Nick Spell, who's been at Heidelberg for 14 years, and Jim Woitkin, only his 3rd year at BW, but Jim's been around the game for a long, long time. These things take time to really build. You get veteran teams in the league that tend to play better. Heidelberg is working on trying to get some of these young underclassmen that are on the field currently, let alone just in the program, start performing at a higher level.
Well, and I've referenced it before. I said soccer is one of those games where it's one of the very few sports where you can dominate and still find a way to lose. And that's just how it is. It's just a freak game where that can happen. Even in this game so far, the Yellow Jackets have mostly had it on the Heidelberg end, and they've had more possession, but you see the scoreline right now, and Heidelberg is up 1-0.
Coverage of our game tonight brought to you by Papa John's Pizza in Berea, the official pizza provider of BW Athletics. Call us at 440-891-1900, or you can order online at papajohns.com. And by the Oswald Company. We'll handle all of your insurance and risk management needs. 15th minute, Erica Campbell's 8th goal of the year, the early tally for the Heidelberg Student Princes. Jackets fighting for some open field space here in the midfield. Again, the goal, if you missed it, long service played forward and was basically a free sprint at the ball for 30 or 35 yards. Campbell took no more than 2 touches and tucked it perfectly from the far left side of the field inside the right post. And perhaps a bit disappointing because it came from a tough angle, and more times than not, your goalkeeper is going to be able to make a save from that angle. But Emma was protecting more of the near side post. Wasn't a ball that had a lot of spin or height to it, just kind of a low-rolling ball, straight hit inside the right post. But good enough.
Well, and it's one of those balls that it was just placed perfectly, and with the wet surface as well. A ball that wasn't hit with much power, but it did pick up some pace because of the wet surface and was able to skid into the back post. So you just have to tip your cap to Campbell. That's a well-hit ball, and that's exactly what she needed to do in that situation.
Lexi Foley commits the foul. Morgan Gray's going to get forward here. She oftentimes will take the free kicks, but with Kenna Stones not able to help on the receiving end, Jim Woitkin is going to send Morgan forward and perhaps give her a chance to help facilitate a shot. Kenna Poptic, senior right back, puts it into the middle of the box. The Jackets never really had a chance at it.
Well, and I like that decision because Poptic hits the best set pieces on the team. She gets good direction on the ball. She knows where she wants to place it, and she hits it there. And you don't always see that at times. She does it well, and I think Gray is one of the 2 most dangerous people in the air for the team. But tonight, the most dangerous one.
Another long ball played for Erica Campbell, who gets to it. Already scored her 35th career goal tonight. And she wins a corner kick there, sending one off of Andrea Scatino. Well, there's no doubt it's not a one-person show, but Erica Campbell, you just can't lose her She's essentially scoring once every 2 games in her collegiate careers. This one slides all the way through. Campbell takes the free kick. Rolls out to the right side. Ainsley Tucker will let her teammate throw it in.
Well, Campbell doesn't have blazing speed, but you can tell she knows her positioning well as she's sliding right in between the 2 center backs and running off of the back shoulder, and it's getting her into open spaces.
Well, that's more than half the battle, especially at this level. If you have blazing speed, sometimes you can cover up certain mistakes. But if you are not the quickest player on the field and yet technically sound and understand when and where to attack, you don't have to necessarily be the fastest player on the field. And I think it's certainly fair to point out that Erica Campbell has found a pretty impressive way to be effective. You score 35 career goals as a college soccer player. I don't care who you play for or how long you play. That's pretty efficient. Rain is lightening up a little bit after it was just pouring here a few moments ago. 19th minute, 1-0 Heidelberg. Other games around the conference tonight include Otterbein hosting John Carroll, and they've wasted little time. 2-0 Cardinals out front. They look unstoppable here in 2019. Muskingum and Mount Union scoreless in the 15th minute. Marietta has an early goal on Capital. That game is 1-0, and they are, I believe, at halftime. They must have started earlier than this game. Ohio Northern, trying to see where Ohio Northern has Wilmington tonight, and their stats have not updated quite yet, so hopefully somewhere along the way we'll have an Ohio Northern score for you. Meanwhile, in this game, it's been largely Jacket-dominated for possession. '20th minute, cutting back inside, Maddie Farrell takes it away. Erica Campbell couldn't hold it over there on the right wing. Scatino, Gray, and Fenn working together. Right side, this is Sophia Jackson. Rolling it back near side. Perry touches left side. Now Sugru. It's a well-timed through ball. Kauffman cuts back in. Heavy touch. Stayed with Heidelberg momentarily. Sugru essentially has a service. She skids all the way across the field. I can't imagine that's how she intended to hit it. Rolls out of bounds in the 21st minute.
And you've just seen the game change since that goal. And the Yellow Jackets were able to have possession, keep it down in the Heidelberg end. But now we're really seeing Heidelberg string their passes together, which they hadn't done in the first 5 to 10 minutes.
How much of that do you think is Heidelberg's own doing as opposed to perhaps missed assignments defensively or Baldwin Wallace just falling apart a little bit?
Well, I think a little bit of that is Heidelberg probably settled down. They got settled into the game. I think another thing, though, is I am seeing the openings for the Yellow Jackets, especially between the midfield and the defense.
Tucker, good service, but a little too far to the right. That would have been more on target. Perhaps could have been more threatening.
Well, and I think the openings I'm also referring to is as you're seeing now Poptic and Finn have switched and they're going to change things up because Heidelberg specifically coming down their left-hand side. But as Poptic was getting forward, they were then quickly trying to get behind her and break through and then try to use speed to get by Scatino. And really a lot of runs were coming in between Gray and Scatino, and there's a big gap there, especially on that left-hand side that Heidelberg's been exploiting.
Haven't talked too much about Audrey Kauffman, who last touched that one out of bounds. She's one of the pieces that Nick Spell's hoping he can really build around. Just a freshman, but already 5 goals on the season and 11 total points. Not afraid to pull the trigger. She's very athletic, pretty dynamic in some open spaces. It's not too common to have freshmen that can come in and make a profound impact on their own team in their first season, but when you have a roster that has a lot of young players on it, you need somebody somewhere along the way to step forward. That's a good interception from Webb. What can she make of it here? It's off Perry, out of play, and the Jackets have their first corner.
Well, and Kauffman, who you were referencing, she's long, she's got long legs, and you just continue to see down that left-hand side, she's just using her height to almost use it to a speed advantage, and she's been able to beat everyone down the left-hand side.
Kenna Poptic will send in the Jacket corner in the 24th minute. Heidelberg 1, Baldwin Wallace nothing. First BW corner of the match. Poptic on the way in. Sent toward the back post. Headed up in the air by Gray. And the young lady we just spoke of, Kauffman, got to it and cleared it away. Well done. Heidelberg preparing to make a substitution. Jackets throw it in. Looks like BW will bring on a change as well. It's ruled a BW throw. Nope, they're going to overturn it. Heidelberg will throw in. Both teams making a change. Heidelberg bringing on Madison Zimmerman, a junior out of Tiffin Columbian High School. And the Yellow Jackets just subbed on Margot Duval, who's had a few chances to start here, especially in the last couple of weeks. Not surprised to see her getting some playing time here in the first half.
Correction for BW number 20.
This is Duval's 20th career match, 13th of the year. She's played every night. I should say almost every night. Jackets playing their 15th game of the year.
And the Yellow Jackets just not having enough movement over there off of the throw. They're just standing and waiting.
Wenzinger. That's good movement that time. Backside of the play from Sydney Graneman. Well, as you pointed out, Poptic on the far side now. Josie Fenn playing it right back. Which of those two do you like better, with Poptic on the left or the right?
Poptic on the right, always.
Okay. And why?
She's a right-footed player. I think it's easier for her to come down the right-hand side. She can whip in crosses. So I think on the attacking end, one, it's specifically important because she can get forward and actually play it with her correct foot and get the whip in for a good cross. The other reason is oftentimes most teams on the wing, they're trying to come down the side and put crosses in. So the foot she's going to be sticking out to deflect the ball is going to be her dominant right foot.
Get back to that in just a second. Here come the Student Princes near side. Zimmerman back toward Campbell, 1-2 ball. And Zimmerman will have a corner kick. I beg your pardon, goal kick. All right, so you made your case for why you'd prefer to see Poptic on the right side, but what are her strengths of playing left back? Why does this situation work for Coach Woidkin?
I think it's one of those situations, too, where Poptic initially played in the midfield. She's a good defender, but she's more attacking-based than Finn is. Finn's always been in the defense, and she's been here. So I think when they're having an issue and a matchup issue of a specific team going down one certain side, they usually try to put Finn as the defender on that side and then really cover for Poptic because she is more attacking than the other defenders.
Okay. We'll see how that plays out here throughout the rest of the night. 27th minute of the first half. Good little tap. Duval feeds Webb, who took a shot, had it deflected out. Frankly, that was a nice play by the center back, Sophia Jackson, just barely extending the leg far enough, getting to it. And the Jackets will have yet another corner kick.
And that's one where Webb was trying to really position herself and time it up. And as soon as she turned, she should have hit that. The defender would not have been there, but again, she was waiting too long to try to get the perfect shot off.
Jackson kind of looks like she's trying to walk it off here. She'll hang in there. 1-0 Student Princes. The Jackets hoping for an equalizer. On the way from the corner. Played a little long, fell to Kayla Webb's foot after clearing Morgan Gray. And they'll flip to the other side of the pitch. Corner kick for Kennepomptic from the far angle.
And again, that's the second corner in a row that I'm not a big fan of. And I think with calling games with me, you know why I don't prefer that with this weather.
Sure. You want the low driving ball that might skip off someone.
Mm-hmm.
You've also been complimentary of Kennepomptic on set pieces. We'll see if perhaps she can come up with something different here with the right foot swinging one in. This one's more of a line drive toward the back post, and Gray hits it wide of the net into the side. And the Jackets go 0 for 2 on those corners.
Yeah, I do think Poptic hits the best set pieces for the team. I think she hits good crosses in. She does well. Today, not so much, and I think a little bit of it is it is slipperier out down there, so it's hard to get your footing, but she's just launching it today. She's hitting it too far. It's hard to get ahead on that back post and try to redirect it towards goal. Pretty much those services in have no chance at the moment.
Amanda nothing on for Becca Thomas as Heidelberg confidently plays some fairly dangerous passes in that back line between Bruce and Jackson. You got some young players that seem to be calm with the ball at their feet in tight windows. That's a positive sign for the Student Princes. Campbell hits this one back wide to the right, needing some help. Negative pass toward her right back. Kate Mundy retreated and goes out of play. 30th minute, Erica Campbell in the 12th minute put Heidelberg out front 1-0. Along with Cole McDaniel, I'm Brendan Gulick. Both teams a little down on their luck lately. Jackets have been outscored 23-3, dating back to their first of 5 straight losses coming into tonight. That was on September 24th against Grove City, as BW sets up a free kick. Heidelberg has lost 4 in a row, although not quite so lopsided. In that stretch, they've been outscored 10-3 in those 4 contests. Only drizzling at the moment, but still certainly pretty windy, blowing from near to far side. Poptic didn't have the leg to get it into the box, only to the edge. Heidelberg negates it, and a foul on BW. No, you know what? They were going to play advantage, and the referee decided that BW didn't have the advantage, so he whistled the foul away from where the ball was. And this time, Poptic will take a free kick from about 12 or 13 yards closer. 32nd minute. Poptic drives one toward net, and Bruce is there.
Well, and I like the fact that that one was put on frame. I think one of the situations always you want to have with a free kick is you'd like to, when you're putting in a cross or a ball in like that, you want to have it whipping in so it goes on frame. So if nobody gets ahead on it, it could possibly skip and go in the back of the net, or if it gets a slight touch, it can do that.
Wide left, deflected off Bruce, and it's a Jacket corner. Meanwhile, BW and Heidelberg both making changes here. Michelina Rush coming back on for the Jackets. Glad to see she is back on the field. She had started all but the first 2 games of the season, leading up to an injury on October the 2nd against Ohio Wesleyan, and she's only played in 1 of the last 3 games. Lydia Gates on for Heidelberg. Poptic in the middle of the box. Morgan Gray heads it back across the frame. That's definitely BW's best corner of the night, although the header went wide left.
It's the best one. I think it's one of those things where she took a little bit of power off of it, so there was more of an opportunity for Gray to get up and redirect it back. She wasn't having to flick it. She was able to head it straight on. But again, it's still going past the back post. It's one of those things, maybe take a 5 more yards off of it, and then it's in the right placement.
Well, a poor clearance attempt. Those can really be costly if you're not locked in. Look for Victoria Perez, a freshman from California, to be a little bit more locked in next time around as Scatino from her center back spot plays it head. Rush into the middle of the box. Juggled but handled by Bruce.
And that's well done by Scatino to come up and read that and jump it and start a counter. So that's well done from the center back.
The rain has all but stopped here. Obviously, it's still cold, windy, and soggy, but the miserable driving rain at the outset of the game through the first 30 minutes no longer a factor. Rush down in the box. No foul on anybody. This one's ripped back at Bruce, who stayed with it. She lost it for a corner. It was an odd sequence. Glad to see Rush pop right back up, but
I don't know about that.
I don't know if she's okay.
Yeah, you said pop right back up. I think she's up, but she's definitely grimacing, and she's not feeling too great after that hit.
No, she went down. I don't think she was necessarily hit when she went into that slide. It almost looked like her right foot got caught in the turf. Hopefully she's all right. Glad to see her trying to tough it out. Another header, this time from Gray, coming the other direction and too tall. Well, you were quick to point out how the game changed after the Heidelberg goal when the Student Princes started to really dominate possession. It does feel like BW is shifting some momentum back in their favor, but they are playing through a deficit here.
Yeah, we've almost had 3 phases so far in this first half, and it was the first little bit. Yellow Jackets on the attack, not able to get many opportunities but had possession. Then it switched to Heidelberg, and now it's kind of back to the Yellow Jackets.
Nothing up the right side, gets one into the middle of the park. Good challenge from Lydia Gates. It goes out of bounds on the right-hand side. Entering the 36th minute, Erica Campbell, 8th goal of the season, which is 4th most in OAC play. It's the difference right now in this 1-0 contest. At the outset of the night, Otterbein was the OAC leader. Then Ohio Northern and John Carroll at 3-0 in conference play. Still have some tough opponents ahead of them. Nobody home after Cooper sent it across. Blue Streaks seem to be off to a good start this year, but it was their win against Capital on Saturday that really started to catch people's attention. Their losses this year came to Oberlin, Worcester, and Case Western Reserve. We've talked a few times throughout the year how good Case has played this year, but John Carroll felt like they got snake-bitten in that 3-1 loss to the Spartans. Heidelberg throw coming. Wilmington at 2-1 in conference play. Capital is at 2-2, although they're 9-5 overall. Capital already completed their game today against Marietta. I think when we mentioned it earlier, there was still 10 minutes left in the second period, so they must have gotten underway at 6 o'clock or at 5:30 tonight. But that game has now gone final. Marietta 1, Capital nothing. That's a big win for Marietta.
Yeah, it is a big one.
Amanda Donahue on for the Jackets. And so is Bella Regal.
Well, I think one thing is we saw it here. Capital is a good team, but they're not a great team. And we've referenced it before. The two that specifically stick out in this conference and the two that are going to be battling each other will be Otterbein and Ohio Northern. And we know that. And on October 30th, that's when those two will meet up. And that will be the most crucial game of the conference regular season.
Yeah, it'll be fun to follow that one, no doubt. Rematch of last year's OAC championship match. Good fight in the corner. 7.5 minutes left in the first half. And ironically, it's not just October 30th, but the second last game of the regular season. I wonder how much those two teams are going to show each other in that match. Obviously, there's the potential that they could both be playing for the number one seed, and so a lot to play for in the OAC tournament, perhaps. It's 2 weeks from tonight is when that match will be. Only 6 games left in the regular season. Can you believe how fast it's gone?
Yeah, it's flown by, that's for sure.
Crazy. Josie Fenn goes back to the left back spot. Kind of Poptic returns to the right side of the field defensively. Kind of gets it ahead. Bella played it forward, but only a defender there. Jackson and Perry have done a pretty solid job so far tonight. Hasn't been perfect, but they've done their job for the most part. Well, kept it in play nicely, and now Perry pressing ahead. Crafty little effort forward. Gray cuts it back in around Gates. Good service toward Michelina Rush. Boy, the flag stayed down. I'm so sure that that referee was ready to raise it and did not. Rush unable to win a corner, though.
And that's one where, with the surface, you have to anticipate the skip. So either if you commit to that ball, you've got to get a touch and bring it down. If not, try to move off a couple yards and play off of the skip.
Got to hit the ball a little firmer than that. Perry came over to help avoid a disaster. Heidelberg throw, 5.5 minutes and counting here before halftime. 2 new student princes coming on. Lexi Langwasser and Sophia Huber both checking in. Huber from Heartland, Michigan, and Lexi, a freshman from Reynoldsburg down in the Columbus area. Oh, this is a good idea playing ahead, but too much on it, and Bruno picks it up. Rain coming down a little more firmly once more after having stopped for a bit. Scatino got some help. Gates pressuring her. Emma, boy, had to get rid of that quick. Michelina Rush connects nicely with Regal.
Yeah, and that's just one where we've seen it from the Yellow Jackets, and they just squandered possession again. And I understand the idea to try to skip it to the backside and have somebody run on, but if it gets out there, there's no help. There's nobody running into the box, so a cross isn't going to work there. When it goes up, try to go forward, back, and through, and then maybe the slower you can build that up and the more collected, the more you can get people up and in the box. And we've seen that with the Yellow Jackets this year where they put in crosses, but nobody has been in the box.
Right back to Michelina Rush. Perry extends that right arm. Rush apparently stepped on the back of Perry's foot. Okay. Referee and the Yellow Jackets saw that differently. Clock's at 3 minutes and 18 seconds here in the first half. Erica Campbell, her 8th of the year, good enough to make it a 1-0 contest in the 12th minute. Bruce picks it up. Hope you're enjoying our coverage tonight from whatever warm and hopefully dry place you might be watching. It is anything but here in Berea tonight. Jackets must have hit it with a hand. Olivia Kane tried to chest it down. Well, you have to take all 90 minutes as seriously as you can. And even when things look dire, you just never know. Saw a game between Michigan and Northwestern the other day. 0-0 into the 88th minute of the game. Michigan scores on a corner kick. 30 seconds later, Michigan with a handball in the box. Northwestern buries a penalty. They go to overtime.
Yeah, and
you just never know.
And that's sometimes just how the game goes. And this is one of these games where it's just been, not to say sloppy, because we've actually seen sloppier games than this. The ball's actually been on the floor. They possessed more. It's just a matter of neither team's gotten a build-up. I mean, only 2 shots so far for Heidelberg, 4 for the Yellow Jackets, and aside from the 1 goal, we haven't seen anything on the attacking end.
Well, and I guess the reason I bring that up is because for BW, they're clearly right now not playing well on the whole, right? Outscored 23-3 in 5.5 games is not ideal. And yet, the idea is, look, in this particular game, you're down by 1 goal, and things can change quickly. So stay locked in and don't let the demons of the past still haunt you in the present. 1:05 in counting as Poptic and Rush couldn't keep possession. Final minute of the first half. Jackets trying to win possession back from Langwasser. It's a dangerous pass into the middle, but Jackson quickly got rid of it. Good look that time from Scatino, glancing over her shoulder to figure out where Erica Campbell was. Now Andrea left foots it ahead toward Kane, and it's thwarted.
And that's well done by Scatino, and she's finally got it figured out. She knows where Campbell's going to be coming from. And it's like I mentioned before, Campbell, she's sliding in between the 2 center backs, and every time running off of the back shoulder of Scatino and just trying to nudge around her. That time, because of Scatino checking her shoulder, she wasn't going to get beat.
Final 10 seconds before halftime. It might be time to build Noah's Ark at the break. This has been one wet, miserable night out on the playing surface. And the horn sounds here in Berea. Heidelberg 1, Baldwin Wallace nothing at the intermission as the rain falls as hard as it has all evening. Well, 45 minutes down. Obviously, things haven't gone great for the Yellow Jackets, but to only be down a goal here is far from the end of the world. Time to hit the reset button and try to come up with a different kind of attacking plan here at the second half.
Right, and it's just a time for them to go into the locker room, get warm, dry off a little bit, talk about the strategy. And this is one of those games where, again, we talked about it. Actually, 2 of the 3 phases that I mentioned was really the Yellow Jackets controlling possession, having down on the attacking end. The fact of the matter is that final ball, and it's about what I mentioned. You just have to get plenty of people in to crash inside the box.
All right, we'll step aside during halftime in about 15 minutes. Come on back for the start of the second half. Heidelberg 1, Baldwin Wallace nothing on BWYellowJackets.com. Ready to start the second half as Heidelberg and Baldwin Wallace came out of the locker room as late as possible. Tried to stay warm and dry, and we get rolling here in half number 2. I'm Brendan Gulick along with Cole McDaniel on a soggy, cold, windy, miserable night in Berea. But for the Heidelberg Student Princes, things are off to a good start. They got a goal from their leading goal scorer, Erica Campbell, in the 12th minute and have a 1-0 lead here at the break. Statistically speaking, as we start the second half, the Jackets had 4 shots. Heidelberg only had 2. Jackets took 5 corners to just 1 for the Student Princes. And as you referenced, there were, in some regard, 3 different phases of that first half, where the Jackets controlled the first 10 minutes, Heidelberg controlled the next 15 to 17, and then the Jackets had momentum the rest of the first half. If you're BW, Cole, obviously you're down 1-0, but you have to take some solace in the fact that you only gave up 2 shots the whole first half, so it's not like Heidelberg was ramming it down your throat. But you got to take better care of the ball in the midfield and need to start generating some shots because lots of crosses that never found targets.
Yeah, and I think I referenced it at the end of the first half, and it's one thing we've seen with this team regularly, and it's that once you get an opportunity to go forward, especially on the outside, you can't just go 100 miles an hour and put a ball in when nobody else is there to follow up across. So it's a situation where you kind of have to work your way up, build it up, and then make sure that you get people in the box to handle the crosses.
Kanapoptic starts the second half. Wide on the right, the Yellow Jackets' left back here is Caitlin Jerkago. So Josie Fenn not starting the second half for Baldwin Wallace. Olivia Kane is out there. Maddie Farrell, Kayla Webb, Bella Regal. We got a free kick here for Heidelberg. Jackets have moved Graneman back into more of a holding midfield role here. The back line still Scatino and Gray at center back. Poptic wide right. And Jerkago now wide on the left. Opportunity building up here. Cooper touches it toward the middle, and the Jackets defend it well.
Yeah, and Graneman usually plays in that holding midfield role at the 6. Right now, Winsinger in front of her, and I think one reason why Winsinger is in as well as Regal and Kane up at the forward spots because at the end of the first half they were kind of controlling it, so it's kind of a reward for what they did at the end of that point.
Good job for Jerkago, helping earn the goal kick. How about if you're Heidelberg? Obviously, we've talked about it from BW's perspective a few times, but the Student Princes came out and struck first. They've played from out front for most of the game. That goal came in the 12th minute. They're on a 4-game losing streak and are also 0-3 in conference play. Somewhere along the way, a road victory for them would really do them well after losing at Marietta this past weekend.
Well, for Heidelberg, one thing is they have big defenders, and they don't mess around. They just clear it out immediately, and they don't try to play it around with it in the back, and they're just trying to get it out. But one thing is up front, that's for sure, is Campbell knows how to make good runs, and she knows how to finish.
Bobbled by Meredith Bruce, but she kept it in front of her, and nobody was pressuring her. It is still raining, but not raining hard. It's more moisture in the air and very, very windy. Wind is blowing as strong as it has all night long. The flag off to the right-hand side of the field is ripping through the wind at the moment. Throw in for Jerkago, who's pressing an awfully long way forward here, trying to get involved. Farrell with the left foot sends to the middle of the box, nobody home. Shot from a long way out was blocked quickly. Well, I admire Baldwin Wallace's willingness to take a shot there, but kind of lacking creativity.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of it has to do with we're just seeing it, and we reference it, especially in this formation, a 4-3-3, your center forward has to be in there, hovering around the penalty spot to get on the end of a cross. And as you saw, Bella Regal, who's playing there at the moment, she was checking too to get the ball at her feet. So you had both your left wing and your center striker coming over to the left-hand side, and it left nobody up there in the box.
It was not received particularly well by Thomas or Jerkego. Campbell providing some pressure. Morgan Gray decides to send it into the corner out of play. '51st minute. Student Princes dispossessed. Good chance coming about for BW. Farrell tried to lead Bella Regal. Not to be.
Well, it's well done by Farrell to get through, and she has the creativity to get forward. We've seen that all season from her. She's a key factor there at the 10, that center attacking mid-spot. But again, just there, Jackets not with the opportunity.
Olivia Kane floats one into the middle of the box with Kayla Webb coming onto it. Good explosiveness there on the far side. Here comes Heidelberg. Kauffman just blowing by people. Getting centralized. That couldn't be what she had in mind. An awful lot of work to lose it like that.
And that's just poor from the Yellow Jackets to let Kauffman get a full head of steam and run for 30 yards without anybody stepping forward. And then as soon as she got to the defense, she had that head of steam to just blow by. And obviously it didn't work out for her in the end. But that's one that in college soccer you should never see a player turn and have 30 yards of space.
Those are the things that are going to make you pull your hair out when you're watching film. They reversed the call on the field. They made the right decision. And this is a BW throw. Jerkego didn't hit it hard enough. Campbell cuts back, uses her left foot, plays into the middle. Perhaps Kayla Webb read the skip wrong. It stayed up. Perry sends it ahead. Jackson. Back to Bruce. Perry. Almost had it intercepted. Perez near side to Mundy. Good idea.
And one thing I'm paying attention to right now is Kayla Webb. She's kind of got a hobble in her step at the moment. She's not running like normal, and I think you can see Michelina Rush has been called over, taking off her jacket, and we'll probably see her just a few moments.
Well, whatever Kayla might be dealing with, you appreciate that she's willing to try and play through it. But when you're down 1-0, and frankly what feels like a must-win game for both teams, this is a game you got to have 3 points. You can't come away in a draw. You also can't afford to have people on the field at the moment that are not at full health if they're not contributing. Hopefully whatever it is for Kayla Webb, she can figure it out sooner than later. But Rush is standing there at the scorer's table across the way. 55th minute. Morgan Gray playing okay in the center back spot. Marking the middle of that box there as Jerkego came over. This comes back wide, played into the middle here. Scatino answered the call. And now Olivia Kane sends it across toward Kayla Webb, who couldn't get there. Good effort there from Webb, a little more explosive, but I think she's going to come out with Rush waiting to check on.
Yeah, and right now the Yellow Jackets just keep having to wait on the subs because nothing going in their favor to make the switch. And at the moment, Heidelberg getting all the throws, and finally we're going to have it.
All right, there are the changes. Bella and Kayla both head out. The Jackets bring on Rush. And I believe that's Philippi, right?
Yep. And one thing that I want to reference for people who maybe are newer to paying attention to OAC soccer, trying to figure out things with the conference. You know, we keep saying this is a must-win game for both of these teams as they both haven't picked up wins yet. And with 10 teams in the conference and that's 9 games apiece, after this game it would only be down to 5 more, and you need about 4 wins, which would be 12 points to advance to the tournament.
Rush to Farrell, a chance from the top of the box. Over the top of the bar from Philippi. Yeah, including tonight, 6 games left in the regular season, and the OAC tournament includes the top 6 in the league, where number 1 and number 2 get an automatic bye to the semifinals, where they will host the winner of the 2 quarterfinal games, seed 3 against 6, seed 4 against seed 5. Jackets the last couple of years have had to go on the road, but have qualified into that quarterfinal round. But you're right. Usually you get to the 4-win mark, 12 points. That's enough to put you into the tournament.
Yeah, that's usually the baseline. It's usually the bare minimum, and that's why we say it's a must-win tonight, because whoever loses this game will have to win 4 out of the next 5 to have a chance.
Good cutback, better play by Morgan Gray. Lofted way up into the sky. Emma Bruno on one hop. Holy smokes. That's enough to give you a heart attack. But she kept it out. That was almost a perfect disaster.
Yeah, it took a nasty skip, and Bruno had to get over to the post, and it looked like that one probably would have skipped up and hit the post, but probably on the inside part, so it could have easily gone in.
Well, that pretty clearly hit Brandy Philippi's right arm when it was extended, but for whatever reason wasn't whistled dead. Jerkago will throw in. The Jackets will try to take advantage of the good fortune in the 59th minute. Heidelberg 1, BW nothing. Out of play. Coverage of the Yellow Jackets tonight presented to you by Jimmy John's in Middleburg Heights. We're freaky fast, so your sandwich arrives freaky fresh. Call us at 440-625-0745 or order online jimmyjohns.com. Maddie Farrell into the middle. It's a couple of good balls she's put there. This time someone was on the end of it. Olivia Kane with the left foot, and then Bruce picks it up.
Yeah, and right there, probably the best opportunity for the Yellow Jackets, and also well done to find the through ball and straight to Kane, and that's one where Kane maybe could have played it back across the 6 to try to get a tap in. She went for the shot, and not too troublesome for Bruce.
BW's at sometimes this year they've had some good dangerous looks, but not often enough. We've referenced a few times throughout covering the team this year that I think the Yellow Jackets on set pieces have looked pretty good. And certainly with Kenna Stones on the field, that's helped. She's not available tonight. But during the run of play itself has been a little bit more frustrating. Jackets have only scored 17 goals in 14 games and just 3 in their last 5+ now. This left-footed shot misses wide left. Good idea for Michelina Rush. It's a good angle, but misfired.
Well, and Rush is an important piece to have back, and you can see it there. She's probably one of the quicker ones out there on the attack, and she's not afraid to get in and get the shots off. So having her back is crucial, and that one just barely missed off the left-hand side.
I'm a little perplexed as to why Bruce likes to play those short goal kicks. It just seems like a recipe for disaster if all of a sudden somebody isn't totally focused.
Well, and I think that's one of those things where you can see Heidelberg set up that way. I think it's how they've been coached to do it. Obviously, it's a part of their strategy, and sometimes you see a freshman oftentimes try to just please a coach and follow exactly what's being said, and sometimes that's where you kind of have to step in with your own judgment and say, hey, let's just get it out of here.
You've got the Jackets pressing up the field high, and you've got the wind a whole heck of a lot more at your back than in your face. It's blowing more across to the far right flag, but still, it's the kind of ball you can hit in the air, and it's not going to get stuck on your end of the field. But I don't want to be too picky. Campbell over to Bruno. Baldwin Wallace down a goal with 28 minutes remaining. Have to figure out a way to muster up some offense. It's been a disappointing evening. 8 shots, 4 on goal, but none into the back of the net against freshman goalkeeper Meredith Bruce. Jackets have dropped 5 straight. Heidelberg 4 consecutive losses. Both teams desperate for a result. Here's Farrell from the top of the 18. Looking to the right.
Yeah, and it's well done by Farrell to step up and win the ball there, but she had an easy through ball to Rush that would have put her straight into goal, and that's just one where the Yellow Jackets haven't had that final piece in the attacking third.
All right, Yellow Jacket free kick after the clear handball. We certainly have a few fans that are enjoying themselves. Kind of Poptic, ready to let it go. Right foot's it low, and it came right back the same direction. Lexi Foley, sophomore out of Lima, Ohio, plays wide right. Becca Thomas, not once but twice into the middle. Thomas gets back to the loose ball. Substitution. Kayla Webb returning for BW. This time she's on for Olivia Kane. So Webb will play on the left. Philippi will be the center forward. And Michelina Rush, the right wing. Farrell, Graneman, and Wenzinger still in the midfield as Maddie got knocked off the ball. Cherkago, Gray, Scatino, and Poptic, along with Emma Bruno on the field right now for Baldwin Wallace. Good little chip there from Kayla Webb. That was a more characteristic play from her. Now she receives it from Philippi. Webb crosses, but hit it to an area where there were only black jerseys. Oh, boy. That one caught Becca Thomas awkwardly. Clock stops 25:57. Thomas trying to hang in there as she took an inadvertent ball off the side of her face.
Yeah, and I think when you're cold and wet, it hurts a little bit more when you take a shot like that, especially to the head. And so it's one of those things where hopefully she's okay, but it will take a few moments to shake that one off.
Well, I'm glad to see that if she has to come off because they stopped the clock. It's a head injury that's an NCAA rule. She can come back in quickly, but didn't appear that there was any blood And I don't think she took it squarely off the nose. It looked like it maybe hit her more right around the eye. Whatever the case is, hopefully she's all right. Heidelberg brings Madison Zimmerman on. .55-57 left in regulation.
The official taking his time here. Very slow stoppage.
Well, they wanted the ball to go back to Morgan Gray.
Well, and that makes no sense to me. He could have had just Webb play it straight back to the keeper rather than take more time to give it to Gray to play it to the exact same spot Webb would have played it to. Have no clue what the official was doing there.
.25 minutes left in regulation. Heidelberg on the move. Zimmerman had her pocket picked. Scatino with Zimmerman chasing her. Good feed forward for Webb, but too far out in front of her. Sophia Jackson got there first. That's a Yellow Jacket throw, absolutely. Jackson doesn't like the call, but it certainly appeared to go off her right foot.
Well, and it's well done by Webb to hustle and get behind and turn defense into offense.
Farrell, Philippi, high in the air. Falls down through Bruce, but a foul on Michelina Rush coming into Meredith Bruce. Probably the appropriate call.
Well, and one thing you have to appreciate about Rush is she gets in there and she's willing to fight for it, and she gets into the dangerous spot. Sometimes you see the ladies back off and not really get up there and try to avoid the contact. At least Rush was trying to get in position there to make something happen.
Heidelberg throw-in for Amanda Surgru. There's a part of me that's trying to decide right now if it's just the way the game is being played or if BW is just feeling like they're going through the motions a little bit. They've had some more dangerous chances here in this second half, but none of them have been nearly dangerous enough. I'm really interested to see if somebody for the Yellow Jackets can provide a real spark. Here's a good chance. Philippi got cut off. Meredith Bruce comes out to get it. It's not a lack of effort, but I think it's clear BW needs somebody to really take this game right now, grab it, and run with it.
Well, the Yellow Jackets are playing better this second half, that's for sure, as they've been the much more threatening team here in the second half. It's just a matter of that final third, again, trying to shoot the ball when you should pass it, or vice versa. And it's right when they have to make that final decision, it's been the wrong one.
Heidelberg plays it back through Mackenzie Perry. And they've got a chance here in the corner. Love it when it comes off Campbell's foot. Good effort from Farrell. I'm inclined to say that I think Maddie Farrell's been Baldwin Wallace's most valuable asset so far tonight. She's played well on both ends. Certainly getting involved. I think her fitness is probably one of the better on the team at the moment. Like you play in the midfield, if you're working the way you should, you're going to run 8 to 10 miles throughout the course of a game. And I feel like every time I see Maddie Farrell, she's always moving.
Yeah, just about. And Farrell's playing at the 10. And so not only is she supposed to get forward and be right up behind the forward, but we're seeing her get back, and she's defending at the 18 as well. And sometimes you don't see all center attacking mids do that. And part of that is because oftentimes it isn't a part of their role, but she's just putting in that extra effort to help out defensively as well.
Tonight's game brought to you by the Crown Plaza in Middleburg Heights. If you're looking for a quality place to stay before or after any Yellow Jacket contest, choose the Crown Plaza. By Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider for Baldwin Wallace University. And by American International. If you require a company with proven performance, rely on American International. Kenna Poptic in the 69th minute. Blasts this one low, middle of the box, headed down by Perry. Scatino runs to it. Holds possession for a moment, at least makes it challenging. That was not a good play. Meanwhile, here comes Campbell with good eyes forward and a good reaction from Morgan Gray. Negated what was about to be a one-on-one.
Well, and going back to the free kick, and one thing that's been the consistent factor for Heidelberg, they try to put a flat line across the 18, and they've done that the whole time. They keep one forward up. There's so much space. Why not try to put two on the ball, see if anybody comes out to defend it? Because if not, you could just easily tap it to the player next to you and then run forward and honestly get a good shot, or when the defense steps forward, you can get a through ball that would get through and possibly get a goal off of it. And you just see that 25 yards of space between the free kick and that line every time.
Heidelberg sub coming on. Looks like Amanda Nothing returning. Saw her for a little while in the first half. Sophomore out of Mansfield, Ohio. 4 points on the season for Nothing. Couple of goals. Jackets have to be careful not to turn it over in a bad place here. Gates had it deflected. Emma Bruno grabs it. 71st minute. You know, Heidelberg's goal in the first half, way back in the 12th minute. It came up so quickly. Long ball played ahead. Campbell ran onto it, took a couple touches up the left-hand side, tucked it in the right-hand side of the net from a challenging angle, but beat Bruno. But it just came up quickly. And I think Heidelberg is sort of looking at their ability to counter and thinking that's one of their strengths tonight. The Jackets have been a little more susceptible of that here in the second half. But a poor touch from Lydia Gates gives BW another free kick, and this time Gray takes it.
And right here, it's the same situation. Look at all the space. If they just swing it out to Poptic, and finally now Heidelberg realizes it, and it's the first time they've actually dropped their forward back.
Morgan Gray cracks it as far as she could. Dangerous play by Kayla Webb.
And, you know, I think that was a high boot call, but I don't know how high that boot actually was. That was one of the lowest ones I've seen for a call like that. Again, a couple questionable things for the official here in really the last 10 to 15 minutes.
Well, Heidelberg will take advantage of the call that went their way. Another Jacket opportunity. Good play there on the far side as Sugru stepped to it, and it quickly turns into some offense. Throw in the corner. Well, eventually we'll have a throw in.
Yeah, and Heidelberg really having to defend a lot right now, and they're just taking their good old time.
You know, I'm certain that the constant rain and wind and cold in the first half was enough to cause some frustration, and I'm sure it was draining But I think both teams at times tonight have just not played fast. Just flat out been slow. And it's hurt buildup on both ends. We've been a little critical of BW at times. Look, Heidelberg's had some chances here in the second half, but I don't think anybody is looking at this game thinking that it's their absolute best work of art. Got to find a way to dig deep within yourself when it's not comfortable and go after it. From the right side, curling it in. Scatino hits it back up into the air. This could be dangerous. It's good persistence from Zimmerman. Campbell chests it down. Her goal in the 12th minute, the difference. 35th career collegiate goal for Erica Campbell.
One thing about playing slow is a thing where soccer's not a game of going at one speed the whole time. You go from a quick walk to slowing it down to possessing the ball, then up to a quick sprint, and then you got to slow it back down. And I think the factor we've seen is sometimes when you can quickly slow it down, speed it back up, and move the ball around and let the ball do the work, that's when a game is fast. So we're not saying that running and just flying up and down the field makes a game go fast. That's not what we're implying at all. It's just one of those situations where let the ball do the work and make the decisions to make it move faster. And that's where I do think it has been a very slow game.
Just a quarter hour remaining. Time for BW to put their foot on the gas here late. That is impressive open field speed by Campbell, getting to it on the near sideline. She goes by Morgan Gray, crosses toward the back post, but she outran everybody up the field. So it turns into a BW throw.
And I think that's what we were just referencing, one of those moments where Heidelberg just showed it, where you're playing fast, and then it's time to slow it back down. Get down there, and if you have to go in yourself, you got to make a move and get in and get a shot. If not, and you're trying to get across, but nobody's there to support, you cut back, or you just slow it down, hold it off, and then find a way to get across in. And right there, that's when you have to mentally speed it up, slow it back down.
Poptic chasing after the open play. Throw in. This is a cross into the middle of the box. Happened quickly. Heidelberg with a second goal. Zimmerman stepped in front of a defender and finished it off. 2-0. The Berg out front.
And that's well done, and that's the type of ball that is going to be most effective in a game like today. Of course, the rain has slowed down or pretty much died at this point, but still, you have a slippery turf down there, and the ball's going to skip, so all you have to do is lay it across the 6 and let it skip into the path of a player coming on it. It's not like coming across Zimmerman got the best type of contact on it. All she had to do was put her foot into it, and it deflected on the frame of the goal, and Bruno just got her fingertips to it, but it was a little too late, and the force and the power just kind of carried it into the goal, and that's just well done off of following that ball in and finishing it off.
Well, that one's that much more disappointing for BW. Now they've been outscored 24-3 in their last 6 games, if you include this one. Scatino with a little sense of urgency cuts it back in. Jackets trying to play through Rush in the corner. Webb in the middle, and it almost found her feet. Slid across the face of the goal. Goal kick. That was their best buildup of the entire game.
And there's your difference maker right there, Michelina Rush. She has the quickness, she's got that speed, and she's got the wherewithal to know where the goal is and where to put that ball. Webb just on the opposite side of the defender, so she wasn't able to outstretch a leg and really poke it in the back of the net. But that's beautiful from Rush, and if they can keep doing that, the Yellow Jackets will probably score a goal.
Into the game for the Yellow Jackets, number 5, Amanda Donahue.
Chance here for Guido. Never could pull the trigger. 12 minutes remaining. Jackets down 2-0. Farrell off a defender. And Perry sends it up the pitch. Campbell. I know she scores a lot of goals, but I think she's Heidelberg's smartest player. I love the way she sees the field.
Well, she's a senior leader, and you can see that she doesn't just hold at her spot up top. She moves back. She helps out the midfield, and if they're not getting the ball down and possessing it, she'll try to drop in and help with that.
Well, this is better build-up into the middle for Guido. Rush is there, and she cracks it over the top of the bar. It's as though BW needed to give up 2 goals to wake up, because the last couple of minutes have been unlike anything we had seen prior to Heidelberg's second tally. Olivia Kane on for Kayla Webb.
Well, it's Rush over there on the right wing who's been the difference maker in these last couple minutes. And as soon as that second goal happened, I mean, she's been all over the place. She's been beating her defender up and down the field, and she's been getting the opportunities and chances.
Jackets have 10.5 minutes remaining to try and make something magical happen here on their home field. Amanda Donahue to Maddie Farrell. Rush. Well, looking for Guido. Farrell stepping forward, feeds wide to the right. Poptic wins a throw. Inside 10 minutes remaining. They're ruling it a deflection and a Yellow Jacket corner. I believe this is their first corner of the entire half, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it is the first one and a half. They had a couple opportunities there in the first, but nothing down on this end so far.
6th corner of the match. This one hung up in the air, falls right in the middle of the box. Got deflected off to the right, and the shot missed the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, and that's one where I have no clue why Meredith Bruce, the goalkeeper, did not come out. If anything in her 6, especially floating up in the air like that, is there, that's her job to really man the 6.
Absolutely. It was a well-hit corner into the wind and fell straight down in the middle of the box. Her not coming out made that exceptionally dangerous. Morgan Gray, back to Bruno. Past Farrell. Jerkago ahead. We haven't seen Josie Fenn the whole second half. She's had some odd lapses defensively lately, just not like her. Audrey Kauffman. That's off a jacket for a corner. And the second Heidelberg corner kick of the evening. This is their first of the second half.
Student Princess corner kick, number 18, Erica Campbell.
Meanwhile, I think this is Becca Thomas. Nope, beg your pardon. Lexi Foley, who comes back on.
Heidelberg sub, number 29, Lexi Foley.
And she's on for Lydia Gates. Heidelberg with 7 minutes and 50 seconds left and a 2-0 lead. They don't have to force anything.
Well done by Guido.
You bet. It's a great takeaway. How quickly can it turn into something? Olivia Kane. Good play from Jackson. Well, this has the makings of one of those games where BW feels like they are the better of the two sides, and yet they're down 2-0. I think Baldwin Wallace has been the better team in both the first half and the second half, but the two Heidelberg goals came in the blink of an eye, one early, one late, and Heidelberg is quite content to have a 2-0 lead here as we start the 84th minute.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. I just think the one thing is that you've really seen Erica Campbell take control of the attacking end of things for Heidelberg, and nobody's really stepped up. You've seen Michelina rush for the Yellow Jackets do it a little bit lately, but all game it's been Campbell who's been the dominant factor on the attacking side.
Jerkago. Olivia Kane. Farrell back to Caitlin. Too much on it. Heidelberg preparing to make another change. That is Becca Thomas over at the scorer's table. Another chance for Campbell, who's been active on both ends of the field. This is all the way across. Nobody's there until Kauffman came to it late. We've seen Campbell run up the left flank. She gets wide on the right. Such a dynamic player offensively. But unfortunately, she is outrun the middle of the field more often than not. You hear the term once in a while, outkick your coverage. Well, Campbell is outrunning her teammates, and her crosses are getting there before they can arrive. .5:12 and counting here in this first half, or I should say in regulation. '86th minute. Heidelberg works it back through Perry. Bruce has been good enough tonight.
Well, I know there's still 4.5 minutes left, but if you're Heidelberg in this situation, you've had success getting Campbell on the outsides, and again, as you mentioned, she's been kind of outrunning her teammates. This is one of the situations where you're up 2-0 at this point. Try to get down the same opportunity, but have Campbell, who has the wherewithal and has the knowledge to get down in the corner and try to hold it off and kill some clock.
Well, the Jackets give it back to Heidelberg. Wind really picking up, and frankly, it's blown in a few different directions throughout the course of the night. At the moment, blowing near to far and left to right across the screen the way you see it at home. Morgan Gray hit it back. Rush trying to get onto it. That's a Jacket corner kick. 3:28 and counting. Baldwin Wallace trying to come up with something off a set piece and give themselves a chance to tie the game. But they got to get one first here on this corner. Pop tick. Here it comes. Everybody crashing to the middle. Wenzinger got knocked over in the box. No foul. The ball sent out. Yellow Jacket throw. Did you think the contact there on Wenzinger was enough to draw a whistle?
Not even close. Okay. I mean, it was pretty soft. There was not much of anything there. Of course, the Yellow Jackets down 2-0. They're going to want something, but that's one I just don't think it can be called at all.
Campbell racing to the corner, as you had alluded to. But the ball crossed the sideline. 88th minute. BW throw from Poptic. I guess Scatino will throw it in, okay? Morgan Gray. Tonight's game's been presented by the Cleveland Clinic Sports Health Division, the official healthcare provider for BW Athletics. As Kane comes up the near side. Also by the Courtyard by Marriott and Town Place Suites in Middleburg Heights. Jerkago. Apparently not hit by Becca Thomas's right hand.
Well, I think it did hit her hand, but it was the ball meeting the hand rather than the hand meeting the ball.
That's fair enough.
Official lets that go.
Especially if the hand is tucked close to the body. 90 seconds remaining. Heidelberg by 2 on the road, on the verge of snapping a 4-match losing streak and handing BW their 6th consecutive loss after a 7-2 start to the season. Got to go quickly here. Entering the final minute. Poptic dispossessed. Gives it a sliding chance, but goes back to Heidelberg. Well, we're in the 90th minute, and it looks like things are not going to fall BW's way tonight. Jackets fighting all the way to the end here, but about to be shut out for the 3rd time in the last 6 games. The offense has evaporated here in the second half of the year, and they've got to quickly figure it out because it's not too late to try and make a run at the conference tournament, but they put themselves in a far more difficult spot on the road Saturday at Muskingum. Theoretically a winnable game. Then they play at John Carroll next week, come back home and play Wilmington. Their next home game Saturday the 26th. How about the Student Princes? They come on the road, and Heidelberg snaps a 4-game losing streak, 2-0 the final. 12th minute goal from Erica Campbell, and a 77th minute finish. Madison Zimmerman with her 2nd goal of the year. And Heidelberg, even though perhaps they weren't the better team for the full 90 minutes, they were decisively better on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and only 3 shots, and all 3 of those shots were on goal, and they were able to capitalize and be effective in what they did on the attack. And although they didn't control the game necessarily, they were able to do what they need to do in the final third, and that's what it comes down to. And that's what happens in the game of soccer. As long as you can finish in the final third, you can win games. That's
going to be a tough one for BW to swallow. Outshooting Heidelberg 11-3, but losing 2-0. So the Jackets fall to 7-8. They are 0-4 in conference play. Heidelberg goes to 5-7-1. They pick up their first OAC win in 2019. We'll be back on Saturday for a broadcast of the men's soccer game against Muskingum. The next time the women are back here on their home field will be the 26th of October. We've only got 2 home games left the regular season. Wilmington on the 26th and Marietta on November 2nd. For Cole McDaniel, I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for making the Yellow Jackets a part of your Wednesday night. Final one more time. Heidelberg 2, Baldwin Wallace 0. Have a great night, everybody. So long from Tressel Field.